welcome back to another episode of the Good Days Only podcast. GDO, that's what I'm talking about. We already had one cup of Joe this morning, so we feeling it. We ready to get into this one. We're going to drop some knowledge on y'all in this episode. I'm going to be joined by none other than Zesty Zoe B. Henry might make a special guest appearance as well, but we're about to get into it. We got some excerpts that we're going to be reading with a little bit of commentary, put a little flavor in it, and a good chat. Looking forward to it. We just got to wake up a little bit more. Maybe let's take another little sip of this caffeine and get into this stuff you should know with Zesty Zoe B.
Good idea.
Let's do it. Oh, yeah. Let's get into it. Let me take another sip of coffee first, actually. Give me a little cheers. Yeah.
Cheers to the freaking weekend.
Yes. It's a mentality, no? The weekend.
And also a person.
Dude, did you see that The Idol is not going to be extended anymore?
I think
the show on HBO.
That's for the best.
Dude, people are hating. I don't know why people are hating so much. I didn't think it was that bad. I liked it. I thought it was cool.
It just all is so unrealistic.
Yeah.
The rat tail.
That's where you drew the line.
God.
That's true. The first time that came on, you were like,
no.
Nope.
Like,
discontinued. No more seasons.
If I were in the club with my friends, and this guy with a rat tail came up to me, I would say no and walk away, and that would be the end of it.
Shit, I think if I was in the club with my friends and a guy with a rat tail came up to me, I would also say no and yank it and try to take it off of his head. Cut it off. It's like, what's that in Game of Thrones, Khal Drogo and all of the what are they called? What's their clan?
I can't think. Hold on. Dothraki.
Dude, nice memory recall. So like that, you know how they ripped that shit off? They should have thrown The Weeknd from The Idol into a pit with Khal Drogo and see who came out on top. Because
that would not even be fair. The funniest part to me in that show is when he would get mad and then be like, "Hey, I'm mad." And then I'm like, bro, exactly, I can't take you seriously. Sorry.
Exactly like that too.
Yeah.
Hi,
Angel. Hello, Angel.
Hi, Angel. Dude, yeah, that was a weird thing. It gave me a lot of Uncut Gems vibes, though. Like his...
like the sliminess of him?
The sliminess, yeah, his acting, the sliminess, the whole show was just really like...
well, he was also in Uncut Gems, too, but he just played himself. And then Adam Sandler, got into a fist fight with him, or tried to, at least.
The whole, anxiety of it all.
Oh, I don't think it's even close to being on the same level in that sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I was just
I guess it was more secondhand embarrassment, if...
That... And you could just see kind of the writing on the wall. You could just see, oh, this is not going to end well. From the jump, you were like, this isn't going to be good. There's no way that this is a good ending. And for some reason, spoiler alert, whatever. If you've seen it, you've seen it. And there's not even going to be a second season, so it doesn't really matter. The fact that she took him back at the very end,
did not make sense. She's
like, bro.
I'm the love of my life. I'm like, bitch, since when?
Yeah. Didn't they know each other for 6 months or something?
Have you not been watching this show? Because, where did that come from?
For real. What's her name? Johnny Depp's daughter.
Lily Rose Depp.
LRD. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She was good. She did a good she was a good,
she's a really good sad a despair face.
That's the word.
She's good with her emotions. I'll give her that.
Yeah. You never really could tell which way she was gonna turn or react, which I think was part of the appeal of the show for me. You know, just like, hey, it gave you a little bit of a insight into what a potentially, like, somebody that's in that position that's being just exploited for their talents or for their, you know, their artistic creativity by all these like big managers and, like, you know.
Yeah, I believe that
Money
there's
makers.
absolutely, yes, I agree. I do think that a lot of the writing, though, like, and I've said this before about Euphoria, which was also written by the same person, I think directed, Sam Levinson. He just makes stuff up as he goes along, it seems. He's like, what's the craziest thing that I could have happen to this person?
Yeah.
And then
it's a lot of
kinda
shock
like,
factor kind of
yeah,
stuff.
which
Yeah.
is like, I don't know. It's not my favorite, but
It's jarring though.
it is jarring.
It'll get you. It'll kind of, you know, hook you in sometimes.
Yeah, and I guess
That's what they're going for,
it works, so they do it.
dude. Yeah, well, that was a little bit of a tangent. I don't know how we got on that, but let's jump back into this this coffee that we're drinking right here. Actually, this is a little bit of a. We're not going to do a full breakdown of this coffee, but shout out to Sleepy Monk. We all know Sleepy Monk. They got the juice, the bean juice, dude. They've been doing things right out in Cannon Beach. Thank you. Shout out to them. This is the Costa Rican medium blend.
Okay.
That you have there, that's a iced latte, but it's got the coconut almond milk. So you probably just taste a little bit more of the coconut. A little sweetness, a little
bit.
coconut. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It's good. It's the pardon me.
Let me clear my throat.
It's the Califia almond milk, but it has toasted coconut flavor with also a little bit of coconut milk mixed in. It's really good. I actually like it.
The Mia Khalifa coconut milk.
Who's that?
I don't know. I just heard you say it one time.
Anyways. Good coffee. I tried it raw with nothing else added last night. It was really good. I don't know. Naked.
I've never heard of anybody talk about coffee as a raw coffee. There's different
I
terms.
guess raw would be like eating a bean, but I mean like black.
But here you go. Terms. This is going into. So this is what I wanted to talk about, because some people have been reaching out about, like, yo, you know, I like when you do on the podcast, when you kind of go into descriptions or definitions of certain processes or different, you know, just like more informational sort of info, I guess. And so let's get into this book that I've now brought up, I've mentioned here. It's called Stuff Every Coffee Lover Should Know, and it's by Candace Rose Rardon. And it's a good little, like a little pocket-sized book, small little, you know, carry it around in your backpack, in your back pocket, whatever. Here's terms every coffee lover should know. So what did you call it? You said raw?
I said raw.
Yeah. No raw in here. But hey, that's okay, because I knew what you were saying. I knew what you were, you know, trying to get across. So there's acidity, right? And then there's definitions for all of these, but we won't get into all of these. Acidity, Arabica, a blend, bloom. We know about the bloom, right? That first step when you're manually brewing.
No Orlando.
The body, that texture of the coffee, you know, the consistency, what you feel on the tongue, the caffeine, of course, our favorite piece of it, maybe. What else is there? Some other terms. There's cupping, right? The method for preparing and tasting multiple coffees. That's
like
something.
A flight?
Yeah. You've probably seen those. Yeah, essentially, it looks like a little flight of coffees. They're like small, I think 1.5 ounce, maybe 2 ounce pours. And you kind of go through, there's like a long line. You might have seen videos online. There's like a long line of a bunch of different coffees, and they go through and they sort of like dip a little spoon into it, and then they like taste it. And then it's a lot like wine, where they take a little sip and then they can like spit it back out into their carafe or canteen or something.
What a waste. Just drink the thing. Drink
Just
the
get
whole
caffeinated.
thing.
That's a lot of coffee.
Down the hatch.
Direct
It's the only way
trade,
to do it.
dry aroma, espresso, extraction, the flavor, green coffee, pea berry coffee. We know that. Processing, roasting. So there's a bunch of terms. But I wanted to fast forward here into there's a section about freshness. So let me just flip the page here. Let me read a couple things. Freshness in coffee. So freshness is everything with coffee.
Period.
Particularly in the world of specialty coffee. Unlike wine, coffee doesn't improve with age.
Mm-hmm.
It just gets old.
Mm-hmm.
To ensure your coffee is fresh, there are 3 dates to pay particular attention to.
Let me guess.
Guess them. Yep. Hit me with it.
Harvest date,
Oh, shoot.
roast date,
Oh, shoot.
packaging date.
Dude. You hit two of those, 2 of the 3. Way to go. Let's go. Harvesting, roasting, grinding.
Okay.
That was the third one.
Well,
Baby,
here's the
grind
thing.
on me.
Only ding dongs buy their coffee pre-ground. So
here's the deal. Freshness in coffee, harvesting.
Just kidding.
The 3 dates. Hey, we all done it. Harvesting. If it's stored properly, green coffee can stay fresh for up to 12 to 18 months. Beyond that, it begins to age, losing intensity and flavor. So about a year out, that's when that's if it's stored properly, right? So you want to make sure that it's nice and vacuum sealed, that there's not going to be any exposure to the air. Specialty roasters such as Intelligentsia often list often list the harvest date on the coffee package. Yes. Roasting. After coffee beans are roasted, their window of freshness is how many weeks you think after
roasting?
After it's roasted. Yeah. What's the best window of freshness?
2 weeks.
Yes, ma'am. Ding, dude. 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks. So try not to buy more than you'll consume in that time frame. That's a good tip.
Yeah, maybe
The roast
you should
date.
follow that.
Well, yeah, because sometimes we got that Costco pack, that Costco 3-pound bag once. It's 3 or 4 pounds.
I've also heard you can freeze coffee to maintain its freshness.
Yeah, but
have you tried that?
No, because I've read, and I don't know if it was in this book, but I read somewhere else that freezing it is it can I guess hold on to some of those the flavor for a while, but the issue is it's still it accrues the moisture, in the freezer. So then when you take it out and you it defrosts essentially, that just kind of messes with the flavor profile or the balance of the beans. So
change the whole chemistry.
It's real finicky. It's a finicky process. I think that's one of those old tales. Somebody just did it a long time ago, and then nobody ever fact checked them or whatever, right? And they were like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. Let's just freeze the beans." But so I haven't done that. Where was I? So roasting 2 to 3 weeks is the best time frame after the roast date. You'll probably find this on the bags of beans. It'll give you a little date when it was roasted. And let's see, a little quote from Perfect Daily Grind. Treat buying coffee like buying bread. Only buy enough for a week or so. That's a good tip too. That's a good tip. Oh yeah, so I was going to say is that Costco bag of those Colombian beans. Those are awesome beans. Whoa, watch out. Hey, Echo, stop. That was weird. Dude, see, they're always listening. What's up with that, dude?
Don't like that.
That was kind of freaky, huh? I didn't even say anything that resembled.
Did she say a station?
I don't know. She started trying to play some music. Ooh.
Weird.
Heebie-jeebies.
Spoopy.
Moving on to the grinding. Remember the grinding at middle school dances?
Ugh. Not so much me. Not middle school. I guess more high school.
High school dances.
Middle school, because my mom worked at my middle school.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't about to do any of that there.
With nothing. I think I probably said this on here too. Think about the chaperones at those like middle school or high school
Yeah.
dances.
That's got to be so weird.
It's got to be so
They're
funny
just
though,
like,
dude.
come on,
No,
stop.
Like, there's not a. This is going to sound weird any way that it comes out of an adult's mouth, I think. So, prefacing it with that, but for just a little bit, I think it would be so hilarious and entertaining to be a chaperone at one of those like middle school or high school dances, because it like, you just know these little kiddos, they're just, we were all there at one point in time.
Yeah.
And it's so cringy, but it's like so cool right now when they're doing it. Like I remember thinking I was the shit when I would jump in. What was the song? There was a song, what is it, by Young Jock?
Lean with
Meet
it.
Me in the Mall is going down. That song came on whenever that would come on at like a middle school dance, dude. There was like that silly sort of dance to it. It was like the OG TikTok dances, from the music videos. And I remember thinking I was so cool because I was like, oh, dude, this is my song. I'm going to go out there on the dance floor and I'm going to do this Young Jock like side to side with your arms out. Dude, it was so cringy.
And all the girls are going to fall in love with me.
Dude, and that's exactly what you think. And so I think it'd just be so fun. Like imagine going and chaperoning Josh's middle school or high school dance, dude. Wouldn't that be so hilarious?
Yeah.
I think so.
Kids are funny.
Kids are funny. There's like no filter. You mean, like they haven't like learned yet. They don't have enough life experience to know like the absurd things that they say. So
yeah.
Hilarious. Anyways, moving on. So we were talking about whole bean versus already pre-ground, right? So whole bean versus ground coffee. As coffee lovers, there's a lot we can do to improve the quality of our coffee at home. But the two biggest game changers are 1, buying whole coffee beans, and 2, grinding them right before we brew. Coffee beans are small but mighty. Each tiny bean holds over 1,000 chemical compounds. Yo, think about that.
Wow.
Right? We know the caffeine, but there's a lot of other chemical compounds. The most important of those elements is the caffeine. There you go. But dozens of other compounds are responsible for coffee's incredible aromas and flavors. Moreover, these compounds are volatile, which means they easily evaporate. The Middle English root of volatile means creature that flies, which is exactly how we might think of the delicate compounds inside our coffee. And therein lies the power of whole coffee beans. As long as the beans are whole, all those aromatic compounds are safely protected inside. But as soon as coffee is ground and exposed to oxygen, an invisible seal of freshness is broken. Some say that ground coffee loses 60% of its aroma just 15 minutes after grinding. By grinding coffee right when we're about to brew, its aroma and flavors will have less time to evaporate, and there will be more delicious compounds for us to extract during brewing.
Dang, that's cool.
That's some knowledge right there, huh?
Yeah, I did not know that.
So a lot of it is you don't want to lose those compounds to evaporation after you grind it. So imagine you buy a bag of already ground coffee beans. That was roasted weeks ago, ground and packaged, probably also weeks ago. So going off of these guidelines or this info, sounds like that's probably not the best, bag of beans that you got. So grinding whole beans in the moment isn't only about maximizing the freshness of our coffee, it also gives us more control over grind size, which is one of the most important variables in manual brewing. And yes, we know that, you can't have too fine of a grind if you're doing something like a French press, because then you get just a bunch of sludge and dregs and, sediment at the bottom of your cup. You can't, and you're at risk of like over extracting, and you can't have too coarse of grinds for something like the AeroPress, right? or an espresso, right? Because you're not going to get the best extraction there. So, when we grind our own coffee, not only can we make sure that the coffee grounds are the right size for our chosen brew device and method, we also have the ability to make adjustments to our brewing process so you can have a little fun with it, you know? You have a little fun with it because that's what life's about, no? Having fun. There's just some guidelines. There's just some rails, kind of like bumpers in the bowling lane.
True.
Hey, stay within these, but sometimes you want to have a little fun with it. Maybe you throw the bowling ball from outside those rails into the rails, and then it kind of bounces around.
Damn.
You know?
That's pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. So that's some freshness info for you. That's some freshness. Whole beans, you had it right. Only chumps buy pre-ground bags of beans.
That's what I've been saying for years.
Let's move on to the taste of coffee. Let me flip over a couple pages here and see if we got some new info. Dude, I can't believe you. Good job. You hit like all those questions that I was asking. You hit like 2 out of 3. You had like 75% probably if it was a pop quiz.
Well, hey, guess what? I got a good
What's that?
teacher.
Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Henry, you look way too relaxed right now, dog. To be a Henry, huh? To be a Henry.
To be Henry.
Let's talk about the taste of coffee. How sweet coffee tastes. Lovelier than 1,000 kisses. Who said that?
How sweet coffee tastes. Lovelier than 1,000 kisses. Shakespeare?
Ooh. And Johann Sebastian Bach
Oh.
from Coffee Cantata.
What?
I don't know who that is. There's just like random quotes in this little book. It's kind of cool. The best tasting coffee should have 4 key components. And even more important, they all need to be in balance. It's all about balance.
Let me
Just like
guess.
life, right? You
Let
got to
me
have
guess.
balance. Fun, work, play, life, family, friends. It's all got to be in balance.
Let me guess.
Yes, guess.
Acidity.
Bro. Keep going.
The fat?
No.
Oils?
4 key components. Yeah. So oils kind of falls into one of these things. Oils fall into actually like all these things because they affect the way that. Think about those terms. Think about the terms that we kind of went over earlier, just a little bit ago.
Boldness?
Okay. Yeah.
No.
Let me just hit you with it.
Yeah.
There's 4 of them.
Okay.
Acidity, sweetness, bitterness, body.
Gotcha.
4 key components. Now, this is, again, according to Candace Rose Rardin in this little book. You know, people might say that there's something else that's more important, but, you know, this is, I think this is a good little book. Highlights. So acidity, if you've ever described a cup of coffee as bright, crisp, or even zingy.
Zingy?
Yeah, shout out Bill Bryan. Got a little zing. You've picked up on this acidity. There are more than 30 different acids in coffee, including malic acid, phosphoric acid, and citric acid, the same acid found in oranges and lemons. Acidity is prized in coffee. Think of it more like biting into a tangy green apple than a lip-puckering lemon. Like that Granny Smith. Yeah, I like a Granny Smith. People look at me weird because I like to just eat Granny Smith like that. Like just, you know. And by people, I mean, yes, you.
Yeah.
You've been talking all that trash.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just like very sour. I feel like they're really good for baked goods because they could be balanced out with some sugar, some sweetness. But I will say in a slaw,
True.
very good.
True. Shout out El Quetzal out on Beacon Hill. If y'all around Beacon Hill and you need a little Mexican food, it's a lovely little mom and pop shop. It's on 15th? No, Beacon Ave.
We can have.
El Quetzal, they have some of the best fish tacos.
Cause
Yep.
Goddamn.
They have that slaw that I hadn't tasted anywhere else like that, where they have like some
No.
Granny Smith, some apples, which brings a nice little tang into it.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious, delicious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some sweetness. The inherent natural sweetness found in coffee is a subtle but important flavor sensation. It helps round out the acidity. Lighter roasts tend to offer a fruity sweetness. Think strawberries or grapes. Whereas darker roasts feature notes of chocolate, caramel, and miel.
Sí, claro que sí.
Tu cafecito con tu miel, con tu leche. Delicioso, ¿verdad? Come on, show the people what you've been learning, dude.
¿Es verdad?
Some bitterness. Given that caffeine itself is bitter, coffee inherently has a certain level of bitterness. If it isn't bitter, it isn't coffee. However, I don't know if I like that line. However, there's a good level of bitter notes.
If it isn't bitter, it isn't coffee.
Then there's negative bitterness. This unpleasant sharpness can especially happen during roasting. Any burnt notes of smoke or carbon can generally be attributed to over roasting.
Right.
So that's why our lovely roasters get paid the big bucks.
It's true.
They should be getting paid the big bucks. This is a shot. This is to y'all, all y'all coffee roasting companies out there. You better be paying the roasters the big bucks.
Right.
Because they got that magic touch.
It's an important job they got.
It's a science, dude.
It's very delicate thing.
Delicate. Body rock. 2 words. Guess that song. That's it.
Justin Bieber.
Oh shit. Oh, come on.
I can't think of.
Come on. Dude.
Body rock.
You're right there. No. Don't sing more. Come on. You gotta get the thing before you.
What you got? I can't. Oh, is it the one with Nicki Minaj?
Yes, it is. Come on.
We gotta keep an eye out for Selena. What's the? I can't think of the name.
Beauty and a Beat. I think Beat.
Yeah,
or Beast.
Beauty and
a Beat, right?
Beauty and the Beat. Yeah.
It's a good song. When that came out, dude, we were probably in high school. I remember, dude, fucking hit that.
Yeah.
Made you want to just like, what's that tutting? Made you want to just tut. No, like, you know that dance?
That?
The dancing?
Tutting?
Yeah.
Oh.
Look that up. Hey, Henry's our producer today.
Tutting?
Henry, look that shit up. I think it's called Tutting. I'm pretty sure.
Oh my gosh, yep.
Right?
That
With the
just
hand.
brought me
You know
back.
who's actually low-key good at that?
Who?
Shout out Katie GM.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, Kim's actually hella good at that.
Yeah, he is.
You've seen him probably do that, right?
Yeah.
Did we already talk about the body? We're
yeah.
getting sidetracked. I'm getting too caffeinated. All right, so let's talk about some body rock. Oh, that's why I said body rock. Okay, the body in the coffee. It isn't a taste, per se, but rather something you can feel in your entire mouth. That mouth feel, right? See, this is that mouth feel we talking about. Hence, this characteristic is often referred to as, mouthfeel. I guess I should just keep reading before just commenting.
Perhaps.
Body is the consistency and texture of coffee on the tongue, be it heavy or light, creamy or thin. The best coffee is complex coffee.
Period.
We want coffee that tells us a story in the cup, with some notes emerging at first, followed by others, or by other notes as the aroma develops. Rather than tasting dull or flat, coffee should take us on a captivating journey of flavor and sensation. Yeah, I like that. Rather than tasting dull or flat, coffee should take us on a captivating journey of flavorful sensation. Much like a fine wine. A lot of parallels.
Yeah. It's
Other
true.
than the aging, of course. Or like a nice dinner. A nice little Italian dinner. Maybe you have a nice little steak, or like a little, pair it with some wine. It's a whole journey.
Guess what's
It's
for
an
dessert?
experience. Right?
Affogato.
Affogato. I was trying to think of something funny, but I couldn't.
I forgot to go.
Boo.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about some caffeine content, huh? Because that's what we really care about. That's what we want. We want to get caffeinated. We got to get up. We're busy. We're busy. We got to get up, go to work. Got to get up, drop the kids off at school. Got to get up to do whatever you got to do in your day to day. So you want to make sure you got energy, right?
Of course.
Look no further than caffeine. Caffeine content 101. Page 49. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Caffeine content. Here's another fun quote. Ready? Guess who said this? I never laugh until I've had my coffee.
Was it me?
Don't talk to me till I have my coffee.
But first, coffee.
Fucking, what are those? That's a chuggy. Those are chuggy sayings, right?
Yes.
I consider that. So Clark Gable, 20th century American film star.
Yeah, it's like the old Superman, wasn't it? Clark Gable, or no?
That was Clark Kent. Boo! But I mean, maybe Clark Gable played Clark Kent.
No, I was thinking of Clark Kent.
Clark Kent. Here we go. Morning Jolt, Liquid Energy, Cupped Lightning. I haven't heard of Cupped Lightning, but I like that one.
Cupped lightning, go cupped lightning.
There's a plethora of nicknames for coffee, most of them referring to its most prized natural compound. Here,
Caffeine.
Mm-hmm. 101.
Mm-hmm.
Here are a few things that can influence just how much caffeine your coffee holds. Robust.
Oh, let me guess.
Guess. Go for it.
Roastedness.
No.
I've heard the more that it's roasted, the less caffeine content that it holds.
Yeah.
That's why I like green or white coffee rather.
Dude.
Or like light roasts, blonde roasts, whatever. Those all have a lot more caffeine than the dark roasts.
Yeah, I loved it. So there is going to be a light versus dark roast combo here. And that's a good question because a lot of people get this question. And this is another one of those things that over time, the answer and the understanding has changed. So we'll get into that in a second. But first, let's talk about Robusta versus Arabica. Robusta, right? So two different types of beans here.
Robusta?
Yeah, Robusta. I like that name.
Mames.
No mames. Robusta has nearly twice as much caffeine as Arabica. Caffeine is naturally bitter,
Whoa.
which helps explain the harsh notes and bitterness associated with Robusta coffee beans. I don't think I've had a straight just Robusta,
Nor have I.
but we have had bags where there's a blend of like Robusta Arabica. But I don't know what the plus side to that would be other than, balancing out, maybe depending on where the beans are sourced from, balancing out the bitterness between the Robusta and the Arabica beans. But I like that name, Robusta. And then, those family trees that you've seen, like we've seen like the kingdom, the phylum, like all of those, the big in
biology, I guess?
Splancing? What did I just say? No, I'm spacing. Yes, bio 107, bio 101.
Yeah.
Kingdom, phylum, genome, species, like all that. Yeah. There's like that, but for coffee, and there's just all of the different varietals and types of beans, and where it's nuts. It's nuts. It's almost like, who knows all this? Who knows all this stuff? Anyways.
Not me.
High versus low elevation. This also affects the caffeine content. Caffeine is a natural pesticide designed to help the coffee plant defend itself. Because coffee plants grow at high altitudes, face fewer threats, they will generally have less caffeine than low elevation plants. Fun fact. That's kind of cool, huh?
Whoa.
Yeah, so lower elevation plants will have higher caffeine content because it's just the natural pesticide it creates for itself. Watcha, no asusten. Espresso versus drip coffee. A common myth is that espresso has more caffeine than brewed coffee, and taken ounce for ounce, that's true. Espresso has 40 to 60 milligrams of caffeine per ounce, compared to brewed coffee's 12 to 21 milligrams per ounce. However, we also have to consider standard serving sizes. A double shot of espresso is only 2 ounces, right? Whereas a cup of drip coffee is going to be anywhere from 8 to 12 ounces or more, you know? If you got a venti from Starbucks, 20 ounces. So if you've got 20 ounces at anywhere from 12 to 21 milligrams caffeine per ounce, let's say that's 15 milligrams, right? Times 20, what is that? 300 milligrams? There's no way. Is that 300 milligrams? Am I just making that up? 15?
15 times 20.
Yeah, what is that?
So 20 times 10
Yeah.
is... Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
300.
damn, son. All right, well, that's a lot of caffeine in your venti. So think about that next time you're going to get a little coffee.
Damn.
Yeah, versus the espresso, right? But the espresso is nice because 2 ounces, you just shoot that back, easy peasy. Let's get going.
Down the hatch, baby. Down the hatch.
Now, here's the light versus dark roast that you were talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the lighter the roast, the more caffeine.
True?
Or so
Is it
says
that?
another common myth.
No, mames.
Gasps in Spanish. Based on the idea that caffeine is burned off with heat.
Oh, that's not
As it
true.
turns out, caffeine is quite stable during the roasting process. So on a bean by bean basis, there isn't a big difference between the caffeine in light and dark roast. However, now this brings us into how you do really get the differences. So in
Okay.
caffeine content,
Lay it
it's
on
about volume versus weight. When you're looking at your beans, Henry, light and dark roast can have differing amounts of caffeine depending on how you measure the beans. So, yeah. So as coffee is roasted and water evaporates, the beans grow larger in size, but lighter in mass. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, the moistures.
So yeah, it's evaporating. They're getting bigger, but they're lighter in mass. So if you measure coffee by volume, right, lighter roasts will have a bit more caffeine since their beans are denser, but smaller. We'll need more beans to have the same volume as a dark roast coffee. And more beans means more caffeine.
Oh, I see.
But
I
measuring
see.
coffee by weight means the opposite is true. Even though dark roasted beans are larger, they weigh less. So you need more of these darker roasted beans to equal the weight of a light roasted coffee. Right?
Wow. Okay.
So
well,
it's about the density, so the volume versus the weight. And that's why you see people like professional coffee roasters, cafes, everybody, they measure their beans out by weight. So they measure the weight of their beans instead of, you see those videos, where it's like the little scale, you got some,
Right.
yeah.
that makes sense.
Right.
Thanks for
So it's not as
putting
simple.
me in my place.
No. I mean, well, the thing is, for the longest time, I'm sure everybody's heard that. Lighter roasts have more caffeine, just flat out across the board, right? But it's a little bit more involved than
Nuanced.
that and nuance. Yeah. And also, like we just learned, the different elevations could even affect that, right? So like there's all these other factors,
Yeah.
depending on if it was a light roast that you got from a low elevation versus a high elevation, might have a little bit of different caffeine content. And also based off of Robusta versus Arabica. See, it's a whole thing, dude. It's a whole world,
Very
right?
complex.
Intense. Now, what? What are you making that face? Was it because of the sound
Never
I made?
heard you make that sound before.
Dude.
Intense.
Yeah, that was a weird sound. I'll take that one. I'll take that one. Do we want to talk about decaf coffee
Nah, fuck
for
it.
the John Catterfelds of the world?
All right, for John.
Yeah. How decaf coffee is made. This is pretty cool. several methods for decaffeinating coffee have been developed since the 19th century. They all work with coffee beans while they're green before roasting, right? But some processes use chemical solvents to extract caffeine. Not only is that potentially harmful to consumers, but it'll also affect the coffee's flavor. Look for decaf coffee that was processed by one of the following methods, and keep in mind that it's never completely free of caffeine. The USDA defines decaf as 97% caffeine free. So there's still going to be up to potentially 3% caffeine in your cup.
I've heard that it's like trace amount though. Like
yeah, and I think most places it's like 0.7%.
Yeah.
Or like 0.7 to like 1.5% caffeine. But here's the two processes they talk about. Carbon dioxide process, which was more recently developed, using highly pressurized carbon dioxide to draw out caffeine molecules from the coffee beans. It's less toxic than other methods, but more expensive. So generally used only on large quantities of commodity grade coffee. So it all comes back to the money. Carbon dioxide processing. All right. So that's one of them. Just using a lot of pressure, sounds like, to draw out the caffeine molecules from the beans. Yeah. And I'm sure that whole process has its own like 30-step, like, start to finish. And then there's the Swiss water process. So instead of using chemicals or solvents, this process used by the Swiss water decaf coffee company extracts caffeine naturally using the innate power of osmosis.
Whoa.
You ever seen that movie?
Yes.
Osmosis Jones.
Osmosis Jones.
Not to be confused with Papi Jones.
Who's that?
Papa John's.
Oh.
That was a stretch. Don't laugh at that. Power of osmosis. You can learn much more on the company's website, swisswater.com. They got tired of writing it out on here, I guess. But the important thing to know is that it is the only certified organic method for decaffeinating coffee. Therefore, it is the preferred choice of specialty coffee shops, and small batch roasters. So, osmosis, Swiss water process. That's the way to go. Only certified organic method for decaffeinating coffee.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So now look on the bags. It should say on the bag. I've seen this on bags. It should say if it's a decaf bag, it should say the process that it went through. And if it doesn't,
it's probably
then
chemical.
probably yeah.
That's really good to know. I should probably tell my mom because she's like.
Yeah.
She won't drink regular.
So yeah, if it's decaf, she should look for the Swiss water process.
She's an organic girly, so.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. It's good.
It's good.
Yeah. And I mean, some people, you just can't.
Interested in they don't drink decaf
tolerate
either.
the decaf or tolerate the caffeine, some people like.
I barely do.
It's tough.
I'm barely hanging on right now. My heart is beating so fast.
Yeah, dude. It's yeah, coffee's nuts, man. It's a wild. The world of coffee and caffeine
is a drug.
Yeah, we just need a way to
drugs.
I just need There's got to be a new brewing, a new process, a brewing method where we can just take a IV and use a plunger like an AeroPress and just inject it straight into your veins, dude. When do you think that's going to happen? I bet that'll happen at some point.
I mean, hopefully not. God, just buy a freaking Red Bull.
I mean, I don't know. Hey, Red Bull gives you wings. Here's a caffeine comparison chart. Now you're saying Red Bull? Yeah, there's Red Bull on here. So check this out. So to see how strong a cup of Joe is, let's take a look at common coffee drinks and other popular caffeinated beverages with their approximate caffeine contents. Ready? Tell me how much you think. So remembering that a normal brewed cup of coffee is going to be anywhere from like 12 to 20 milligrams of caffeine, right? per.
Wait, one cup?
Yeah. Or no. Sorry. A cup of brewed coffee is gonna have anywhere from 12 to 20 milligrams of caffeine per ounce.
Is that it? Oh,
Per ounce.
okay.
So like if you have like a 10-ounce cup, right? That's what we were talking about earlier. How it's gonna be like maybe 100 plus 150, 200, 300. Depending. If you have like a venti and it's 15 milligrams of caffeine per ounce, then it's a lot. And then espresso, right, is like, what did it say? It was like 40 to 60%. 40 to 60 milligrams of caffeine per ounce. Yeah.
Okay.
So keeping that in mind, right? How much caffeine do you think there is in a Coca-Cola?
Oh, like
Per 8-ounce serving.
Probably like 30, 40.
Ooh, you're close. Coca-Cola, 21 milligrams per 8 ounces. Diet Coke, more or less. What do you think?
More.
28 milligrams per 8-ounce serving.
That's how we drink Diet Coke, baby.
Green tea, what you think? Per
for 8-ounce serving, probably like 30.
Hey, you're right around ballpark. 35 to 45 milligrams caffeine per 8 ounces.
Okay.
And espresso, we said that.
Yeah, you already said that.
60 milligrams per ounce, about. Instant coffee. So think about your Nescafe. Think about your, the
50?
The spoons you just boom, boom, and it just dissolves.
50?
62
Whoa.
milligrams
Okay.
per 8 ounces. Now, Red Bull. What do we got?
It's
What
like
do we
90.
got?
90.
Hey, you right there. You're close. 80 milligrams. Dude, you're really good at these. Wow. Brewed coffee, we just said. So there's a range for 8 ounces, depending on how strong you make it.
What is it, 80?
It can be
90?
anywhere from 95 to 165 milligrams.
Yeah, that's
of coffee.
crazy.
It's a lot. Did we do our math right?
I don't know.
For the whatever. Hey, somebody double check our math. We're not mathematicians.
It's too early.
Starbucks Nitro Cold Brew. How many milligrams of caffeine is in 8-ounce serving?
Well, let me tell you. One time I got that and I thought I was going to die. So like 110.
Dude, yeah, 140.
140?
Yeah.
My God.
I got to pee real bad. Let me pause this real quick. All right, we'll be back. All right. We're back. Had to take a quick little intermission. Too much coffee, too many fluids, but
Intermission.
we back. And, that was actually kind of a good time because that concludes our stuff you should know section. So hopefully you took some tidbits of information, some fun facts. You have some knowledge that you have acquired over the last half hour or so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I like this little book. And there are a lot of other books out there. Like there's this Caffeine Almanac book that I want to order. There's a lot of good information. And just like we just found out, I mean, there's the world of coffee and coffee making and roasting and harvesting and the whole process. It's just so deep. And there's so much info out there. It's interesting. Mind-boggling a little bit. But
methinks we've only scratched the surface.
And we're going to keep going. What accent was that?
I don't know.
All right. So let's move on. What's been popping recently? What's been happening? Let's get into some vibes. I have some points here that I wanted to talk to you about.
Love Island.
And then we got the GDO playlist that we're gonna move into as well. But first and foremost, dude, it's September. It's been still pretty hot actually, and up here in the PNW. But we were driving around down near Renton, and we noticed some of the leaves were changing on the trees, dude.
There was
kind of beautiful
crispness to the air.
There was a crispness to the air, especially like in the morning. In the morning, it's very chilly, very crisp. And the car is getting a little cold. You gotta you're shivering a little bit when you get in there before going to work, It's almost leaf peeping season.
Almost.
Those trees yesterday got me a little bit excited though.
Me too.
You know,
Me
this started
too.
as a joke too, right? Like leaf peeping. We heard that term and we were like, that's silly, that's stupid. But then
And now
we
we're
were
like, yo, peep this leaf.
exactly, dude. Exactly. Well, I think about when we were driving probably to Bellingham, up towards Bellingham, and to Jim Creek when we went camping out there. And
Yep.
there are some roads where you can just go, you know, they're kind of like windy and you're winding through all these yellows and reds and
Like the Beatles said, the long and winding road.
Is that what
Why
they
did I
said?
kind of sound like Paul?
Is that what they said? They said that?
They did.
Is that off of Don't Let Me Down?
One of them. I don't know.
Yeah, one of them. But so it's leaf peeping season. If you don't know what that is sometime between like end of September to November or so when all of the leaves are changing colors. People go out there and you've probably seen beautiful pictures or videos of these leaves changing colors. But you should get out there if you're in somewhere that has these trees. What are they called? Not coniferous trees. What are the ones that change colors and then the leaves fall off and then they come back next season?
Persniferous? I don't know.
No.
Perennials?
Perennials? That's a
plant.
That's
or
a plant.
like flowers. I don't know. That's a good question.
Pretty sure it's coniferous. Am I making that up, dude? Let's see. Dun dun dun. Coniferous. A tree that bears cones and needle legs or scales. Never mind. These are evergreens. Conifers. Yeah. Oh, deciduous.
Deciduous.
Have leaves that fall off yearly. That's what it is.
New word just dropped.
Pretty close. Deciduous trees. Look at that. Just boom, dropping knowledge. That's probably like elementary knowledge. How did we forget that? Deciduous and coniferous. So leaf peeping, dude. Get out there, check it out. Leaf peeping, the fall is here, which means Cougar football Saturdays. We watched that game last night.
Another Coug first down.
Wow. You were kind of into that, right? You're getting into
what?
football these days. You're a football
I'm a
girl
little
with the ESPN fantasy.
I'm a football girly.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's kind of like something cozy about it. It's akin to leaf peeping. You're kind of like, oh, it's fall, and guess what? There's football.
It's time for football. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is very much like that.
I don't hate it. I did assemble a little fantasy football team. Went purely off the vibes and like
That's all you need.
I picked
honestly.
people that I was like, oh, I think I've heard that name before.
Yeah.
So
Solid method.
hoping it pans out in my favor.
Dude, well, the thing is about these, there's a certain level of consistency and like, history for certain players or teams that you can rely on, right? Like for a really long time, you could rely on Tom Brady to be like just a kick-ass quarterback, right? You can rely on Derrick Henry to be an awesome running back.
Hey, that's who I have.
Exactly, right? But at any point, anything can happen, you know? So you make your best decisions, best guess.
Guess what? Life's what happens when you're busy making other plans. Who said that?
Yikes.
Who said that?
A Walmart t-shirt.
No, John Lennon. I think.
Well, it's probably also on a Walmart t-shirt. And if it's not yet, put it on there. You're welcome. But you know what I'm saying? It's like anything could happen. So you did your draft. You went off vibes. You saw some names that you knew. You looked at their projected scores potentially. And that's fine. Like there's that story of the kid, I think it was like maybe some time ago, a couple of years back, but a kid that chose the March Madness bracket. He picked the March Madness bracket out based only off of the mascots that he thought would beat the other mascots, or which mascots he thought were like cooler than the other mascots. And so he just chose that through his whole March Madness bracket, and then ended up like having one of the best brackets or something that season. It's kind of nuts.
Know.
Yeah. So you never know.
You never know.
But bringing on to the next point, which is a funny comment that you made, I've heard you make. about this being like your football. Talking
Oh.
about
Love Island.
Love Island.
It's true. That's my
There's-
Super Bowl.
Break it down for me. There's strategy. There's
is.
drama.
There's
There's highs. There's lows. There's injuries, maybe.
well
emotional.
yeah,
Exactly.
for sure. Yeah, so it's like you have your game players, right? You got
Game
people
players.
come in, they strategize. They're like, who could I pair up with that would give me the greatest advantage to possibly win in the end?
And what's the win? What's the Super Bowl
I think
ring?
it's $100,000.
Woo!
And then, like, everyone on the show kind of just gets famous at this point.
Yeah.
Because
Makes
lots
sense.
of people watch it, so they really capitalize on that with their social media.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely some strategy there, and all the games that they play, like, and then also there's an element of just complete randomness with when they put a vote out to the public. They're like, hey public, who's your favorite couple or least favorite couple or whatever. And that can just come out of nowhere. People can get sent home at any time. So really, it's like there's strategy, but there's also a scary element of like you don't know what is actually going to happen.
Right. So much like injuries at any point, or like
Yeah, it's true.
setbacks that happen to teams because of stuff that happened off the court, right?
I will
off the
say-
court or off the field.
This season has some of the most shocking, like timing that I've ever seen. To be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it's reality TV, so it's kind of trash.
No,
But-
it's not.
Everybody can kind of agree on that, right? But it is entertainment. I'll give you that for sure. It's entertainment. I think it's funny because you think about, oh my God, it's kind of like this the people in scary movies where you're like, why did they do that? They shouldn't have done that. I
Wow.
would have done this differently. But in that
Yeah,
moment, you're
there's
like,
that.
dude, there's no way. What are they? They're just like sipping mimosas and taking shots of Hennessy and like being recorded every minute of every waking day.
They don't get as drunk as they used to. Like the early seasons, people were getting effed up, but then there's, of course, a lot of things that can go wrong with that. So nowadays they're pretty limited on what they can drink
Yeah.
and whatnot. The old seasons used to be pretty trashy. Like they would just smoke cigs all day, get absolutely wasted,
Dude, yeah, that
act
is
like complete
funny.
fools.
How they evolved from that. They probably, I mean, they learned from their mistake. Like the producers,
Well,
like,
I mean,
turns
God.
out we can't have them just smashing 3 bottles of tequila in a week or whatever,
Yeah.
right? What would you rather be on that show? If you were on that show, do you think there's more advantage to being a day one, an OG, or being a bombshell dropping in,
Gosh.
either guys or girls? Like, which one do you think? Because I think
Being a
go
bombshell, that would be hard because when you come in, everyone's already established in their relationship. Odds are you're going to have to break up a couple.
And explain what a bombshell is real quick.
Just they're introduced later in the game. I guess not game, the show, but they're just people that they bring in to hopefully rattle the couples that exist and kind of test them to see, are you actually a strong couple or are you just with them for the moment? And then as soon as something better comes along, you're going to be like, oh, so that would be really hard to come in as a bombshell because it causes a lot of issues. People are pissed off when they get separated from their person. And a lot of times I've seen it not work out in their favor at all because they go for someone, that person doesn't reciprocate that feeling, and then they're just kind of single again. So it's hard. I would rather just be an OG.
See, I think there's pros and cons to both of them, right? Because like as an OG, you're there for longer. So yeah, you get a chance to build more connections or whatever, right? So that's the whole premise of the show is that, right? Is like come in, you're single, and then you want to build a connection and leave with somebody, and the public votes on who are the best matches, right?
Yeah,
best couples
that's-
throughout, and then
They'll
you
vote like most compatible couple. The like, I guess like, and then also aside from the public voting on the people, they also make each other vote on each other. Like, who's the snakiest islander? Who do you think is the most likely to be a game player, stuff like that? So it gets really dramatic at times.
Yeah. And so but I think that being a bombshell might be kind of fun because you're not there for as long, meaning you have less opportunity or less possibility of messing something up, right? So you're already, if you come in as a bombshell in however many weeks in, you're already that much closer to the 100K, right? That prize money. So that's
Sure.
kind of cool. And if you're there from the very beginning,
That's like 6-8 weeks. That's a long time.
yeah,
I would
And a
lose
lot
my
more-
mind probably. I don't
lot-
think I would do well in the show.
a lot more chance to get kicked off.
I'd miss Henry too much.
Yeah, who do you think is gonna win of this season? How many seasons? There are like so many seasons, and there are so
Well,
many episodes too.
The
Like,
show's
bro.
actually already over. I'm just really slow and haven't.
Oh, you are slow. That is slow.
Yeah.
The rate that you're watching
Well,
them at,
We went to Mexico as new episodes are being released, and there's one every day. I
dude.
just don't
There's
have
like
time.
80 episodes
But
per
I haven't-
season.
I haven't spoiled it for myself yet somehow. Usually I always like see it on Instagram or TikTok and I'm like, fuck. But this season I've managed to avoid it because I stopped looking at everyone's profiles until after the show's over. But I think it's all like, it's hard to say because it really, I don't know how far out I am. I think I probably have like 10 more episodes or so. But right now, in this current time, I think Ella and Tyreek. And if not them, then perhaps Molly and Zach. I don't know. There's some really good, strong couples that we have.
Are there any people from past seasons that are still together that are like, because it's like The Bachelor. It's like
Yeah.
the new Bachelor essentially,
Yeah.
right? Like, because people are, I think maybe, I don't know. I'm not really in that genre of TV, but I think people are kind of not on The Bachelor as much, right? Watching it, or is that still a very popular show?
It is pretty popular. They also they have a golden bachelor, so he's like 70 years old.
What
Yeah,
the fuck?
it's a newer.
Time out. Wait, whose grandpa is on this shit?
Yeah,
Is it their family? They must show like their family and stuff. that
Oh,
are,
yeah.
like, right? Like,
but yes, there are still some couples from Love Island. I've only watched season 1 and 2 from like the older seasons. Before I started watching like current seasons, but season 2, there's a couple that are still together, and they actually have like kids and stuff too, which is really cute to see. I can't think of their names off the top of my head right now, but yeah, it does work. Like, I do genuinely think it could work for people, but a lot of the times when they get out into the real world, it's like, oh, this isn't anything like the villa. Like,
dude, that's the tough thing, right?
there's-
Because you're locked in. There's no other
Yeah.
societal factors that are at play. There's not really, because you don't even have access to your phone
you
or
don't have
anything,
your
right?
phone, you can't see what's
Or-
going on in the world. Like, you don't.
Right.
There's no news. You can't even listen to music.
So you're essentially living,
You're very
living your best
isolated.
life. Like, you're living your best life. You're on an island. You're surrounded by a bunch of other like young, good-looking people. Everybody's having there to like, try and find love. You're playing games. It's
Yeah.
just paradise. And then you
Yeah.
come back, and the world is actually just shit.
and
right?
there's
Like,
other
just-
bitches blowing
but-
up this person's phone, and then they got their friends. Maybe their
Exactly.
friends don't like you,
and their friends were like, "Oh, dude, you're on Love Island," So
Yeah.
there's like all this weird
Yeah, it's true. Like, a
trying
lot
to
of
get back into society.
a lot of people don't survive that, unfortunately. But I don't know.
Some good drama, some good music, some good bangers on the show. Actually,
Yeah.
like there's like some good trop vibes.
Uh-huh.
And talking about music, unless you want to say something else about Love Island, I think it looks like you're thinking. You're thinking?
Tonight on Love Island,
That's one thing. That dude,
got a new bombshell coming into the villa.
the narrator.
That's
he's
all I
funny.
wanted to say.
He's funny. I don't know what's up with his name spelling, but he's Irish, maybe, right?
He's Scottish.
Scottish.
That's like a old spelling of Ian. Ian.
Ian. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Dude, dancing into the GDO playlist for this week. We better wrap this up. I gotta go get a haircut, actually. So, GDO playlist, dude. We've been bumping some vinyls as of late. Shout out to Bill for the collection. Dude, we have over 125 vinyls now, and we have
shout out Bill.
Nice little record player.
I'm on my Bill shit.
Set. And last night we were having a good time listening to some motherfucking
the only
Carlos Santana. And well, Carlos Santana, one individual on this in this group, in this band, right? But Carlos Santana, this guy's a bad MFer right here. Born in 1947. The year of the
1947.
Year of the pig.
So what is he, 80?
Dude, he's old. 47. The year of the pig is when he was born.
And mind you, my dad has seen Carlos Santana in concert probably 3 or 4 times now.
The year of the pig.
So he's a real OG Santana stan, baby. Stantana, if you will.
Santana. The year of the pig. People born in the year of the pig were born in 47, 59, 71, 83. So it looks like every 12 years. 12 years? The pig, or sometimes translated as the boar, is the 12th of the 12-year cycle of animals which appear in the Chinese zodiac. There you go. In relation to the Chinese calendar and system of horology, and paralleling the system of 10 heavenly stems and 12 earthly branches. Sick.
Well, damn.
So every 12 years, so every year, so this is the year of the pig, was 1947 when Carlos was born. And this dude, he's had his hands on instruments since he was 5 years old. Started off with the violin, had guitars.
It shows.
Dude, he joined a band as a bassist on the road at age 12 or 13. Like, before being a teen, like when he was a tween. Dude, that's crazy. Going on the road with Los TJs, because he was in Tijuana at the time. So he was born in Sinaloa, I want to say, somewhere in Mexico. Yeah, Sinaloa. And then moved to Tijuana as a young kid. And he joined this group, Los TJs. It's just the letters TJ. And started, his rock and roll career. Or he was born in Jalisco. That's where he was, Jalisco. So correction on that, not Sinaloa. But dude, yeah, musically, I mean, talent and a half, dude. Listening to the albums, to these vinyls last night, he's got some soul, dude, that comes through in that guitarra. And his whole family's actually rock stars, dude. His papa was in a mariachi. He's a mariachi rock star. So growing up, he was influenced by that, I'm sure. Lil Broski is also a professional guitarist. And Carlos actually formed this band, Santana, the American rock band, formed in San Francisco in 1966. So after being in Tijuana for a little while, sounds like he moved to San Fran and then got the group together in 66. Originally, it was called the Santana Blues Band, heavily influenced by blues legends like B.B. King. Dude, B.B. King, you heard that, right? B.B. King, like,
yeah,
just OG, like blues through and through, right?
Of course.
So I think B.B. stands like actually for blues boy or something,
blues
something
boy.
Like that. I'm pretty sure it was something like a nickname. But B.B.
Blues
King,
baby,
dude, he was performing in the 40s, in the 1940s.
Yeah.
And was still throwing down, dude, in the 2000s.
That's
like he died, he passed away in 2016, 2016,
B.B.
something like
King?
that. B.B. King, yeah. But he was still like rolling, like, playing concerts and stuff in like 2010,
Rockin',
2006.
rollin', you know what it is.
Kind of nuts, right? But yeah, Santana. I like that they shortened the name actually, so it's not Santana Blues Band. It's just Santana. Sounds cooler.
Yeah.
But they popped off, dude. Santana at Woodstock '69, and that's when they really took off.
Oh, to be at Woodstock 69.
Dude, imagine.
Not 99.
And then a Santana pops up there, dude. We were bumping the Amigos vinyl, but I think what they played in '69 was this one here with the lion.
Just
the debut
Santana,
album,
period.
dude.
Nothing else needed.
Just, yeah, with the big old lion on the front, dude.
By the way, the art on
vinyls,
these albums are incredible. They're all
For
very
real.
trippy. It's all like, it's a lion, but if you look closely, there's a body in it. So all of his art has like, a lot of it's with the human body, like the human form, but it's a part of a bigger picture. So it's really cool. It's like very trippy.
it is, and it reminds me of that, like, you seen those, the like newer art that you have like on the phones or like on computers, that zoom art. You know what I'm talking about? Like that ultimate, like where you could they just keep zooming in on the picture, and there's like more and more and more and more images inside of
You
that.
just have
That's
to
kind of
keep
what
looking.
that's kind of what that reminds me of. Because like now that
Very
you say it,
cool.
I clearly see it, but it took me a long time to even really realize that. I didn't realize that there was like a body on the front of that
Yeah.
lion. It's pretty cool, trippy, and
Psychedelic, dude.
well, that's part of the awesome thing about these vinyls, as we've been taking a look at them, is like so much of the art on these covers, on these sleeves, is awesome. And it's crazy that this has held up like this since this came out. Like since what, 69? This was dropped when it was a 60, 70. Does it say on here?
I think that was 1967.
67? Where does it say?
It would be on the back.
It'll be on the back, right?
Or maybe on the actual vinyl itself.
Oh, yeah, I can't find it on here. But this one, dude, you got to change your evil ways, baby. It's a banger, dude. Yeah. Dude, but the Amigos album, also awesome. Trippy cover art. There's a lot of bongos.
1969.
1969 was this one. This one, right? The debut.
Yeah, that's a hell.
So that was
of
when
a,
they played at Woodstock too. Yeah.
That's a hell of a debut.
For
and then also,
real.
like, could you imagine just being the OG Woodstock performer on top of that?
Right. And Santana. So this is kind of like Jabberwockies or like those other groups where the Globetrotters.
Where they dance.
Well, no, where they've started. They started as one set of people, but over the years there's been additions and people have left, and so Santana. So Carlos. He's the only one that's been around since the beginning. So like all the others, like the drummers, the bassists, like other people have come and gone, right? But he has stayed through as the one piece that's continued.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome.
I mean, I think that's just true for a lot of bands. Like Fleetwood Mac, if you've seen, it's kind of like a revolving door of members for the longest time. Like,
but then there's one or two that stick around
Yeah.
and keep that old swag,
Yep.
Yeah, dude, that debut album, that's a crazy debut album, you're right. But I think that song especially, the you got to change your evil way. Dude, I remember I threw down on that saxophone on that song in band. Are you kidding me? I was on the sax playing that lead like melody along with like the trumpets. Like Will and Lyle were sitting over, or Will and Nate were sitting over there to my right, and Elias was on the left, and Ivan was on the trombone, Lyle was on the bass, slapping the bass, dude. We threw down on that song. That's sick. But yeah, so Santana, fucking awesome tracks. But you could tell some blues influence, but very rock and rolly. What was that other album? Sounded a little bit more experimental the Abrajas, Abrajas, right?
Abrajas.
That sounded a little bit more experimental.
Yeah, it's a pretty
some
crazy
more
one.
keys and organs and sort of reverby.
Mm-hmm.
But Santana, that's going to be the GDO playlist. Gonna have some sick tracks on it. And I think this is bringing us down to the end of this episode. Let's wrap this up. Ya boys got to go get these ears trimmed, or whatever the saying is. Ears lowered, ears heightened. And then we got to make some salsa de bandera.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go to this little picnic. Going to go hop on a ferry ride, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And then next episode, it's going to be number 55. So you know what that means. Time for the GDO caffeine giveaway every 5th episode. So stay tuned for that. Some more information. Check out the IG, the TikTok. There's going to be some videos. There's going to be some more, fun little tidbits, some little, infomercials. The last video that I posted was very infomercially with the red X and everything about the tap water thing. It's kind of funny. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you for tuning in. Episode 54. Until next time, stay tuned for some more info about the GDO caffeine giveaway. And we'll be back very soon. Mwah.
Mwah.